Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who have never joined us before, my name is Jeremy, and today I'm bringing you a product review on a relatively new to the market RV door lock. And this is one of those electronic door locks that you can operate remotely, or you can enter a combination on the keypad to unlock and lock the door. And the brand that I'm talking about today is the Onnais RV door lock. Now this door lock is being provided to us by a company that normally makes gun safes. So I have some pretty high expectations about the security of this door lock. And the first thing I can tell you is when I picked this thing up, it feels very solid and secure. Now, we previously had a different brand of door lock on our last rig, one of these automatic door locks, but I was never super impressed with how that thing was built. And so I'm really excited to get this one installed and see how this thing performs over time. So I got two things to get out of the way real quick is that Onnais did provide this RV lock to us at no charge. All they ask in return is just a simple, honest review and kind of walk through the different features and the installation of the product. And then number two, although we've done some of these product review videos in the past, this is going to be the first in more of a consistent series of product reviews. It's really going to be a series of products and maybe RV features reviews that we're going to put out every week. Those videos are going to air on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. and this is the first video in that series. Now, we really like these RV door locks because you guys know how it is. You got stuff in your hands, you're coming back from the grocery store, you're trying to get the door open. It's so much easier to just push a remote key fob button to have that door unlocked rather than having to get your keys out, unlock that door, try and get it open, all with the groceries in your hand. So these just make it a lot easier to get in and out of your RV. So the Onnais brand here, it comes with two of these key fobs, and I'll tell you what, the key fobs even seem really sturdy and really durable. And what I really like about these key fobs is that the actual mechanical key for the lock is in the key itself. So there's no extra key that you have to carry around. It's just right here in the fob. It's like a lot of the automobile key fobs out there. You just push a little button on the back and the key comes out. So I just think that's a really neat and handy feature in the key fobs that they include here. Now, as far as features on this thing, they're pretty standard. I don't see anything that's kind of way out in left field or anything that really strikes me as just being out of the normal for these types of door locks. So what I think I'm going to do here is just jump straight into the installation on this thing, and we can kind of look at some of the features as we go through that installation, and then post-installation we'll kind of see how everything operates once it's all put together. Okay, so I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to get it done before Candace comes home. I don't think she knows that I'm doing this today, so it'd be kind of neat to have this ready for her when she gets home today. So having said all of that, what are we waiting on? Let's go get started. The first thing I had to do here is to actually take apart the new Onnais RV lock because it actually comes all put together. So it's just 4 bolts that you pull out and it separates the front from the back. And then of course, as you can see here, you need to disconnect the 2 halves electrically as well. Now, I did go ahead and put batteries in this. It didn't come with batteries already installed, so it takes 4 AA batteries. Now, the basic process from here is obviously we now have to remove the old RV lock. And similar to the new lock, it's just gonna be 4 screws that hold the front and the back of this lock together. Once those screws are out, then we're going to remove the screws from the strike plate so that we can remove the front part of the lock, and then we'll have both sides of this old locking mechanism removed completely. Now, it's really windy outside today, so I'm going to try and get some of this on video, but we'll see how that works out. But again, all I'm going to do is remove the strike plate from the door. That way I can pull the outside part of this lock off. All right, again, so the wind's going pretty good out here today. Hopefully I can get this done here with nothing falling over. So we're just going to remove this strike plate, and then this whole locking mechanism will just all come out. Okay, this is the piece we're after here. We just need to pop this right out, just kind of push it out and then pull, and it just comes right out just like that. It's super simple. Now, I'm actually hoping that the new strike plate that they gave us in this whole assembly is gonna fix a little bit of a problem we've had with this door. I know a lot of RV doors can be finicky to begin with, but this one's just been super sticky and really hard to close. And sometimes it can be just a little bit difficult to open. I'm always having to spray some dry lube on it, so I'm hoping that this new locking assembly is gonna help fix that, or at least minimize how much that sticks. All right, so next we're just gonna pop the new locking assembly in there. We just wanna make sure that we get this ribbon strip through the opening in the door to make sure we don't get it all jammed up inside of there. And then once I have it into place, we're just gonna put this new strike plate on and the screws that they provide. Okay, I think I can get this strike plate back on there. And one thing I'll point out here is, I've mentioned this in a previous video, has nothing to do with the Onnais system whatsoever, but you can see that I have a little bit of white showing around the outside of this lock here. And again, that's because the way Grand Design paints these rigs when they get a full body paint on them is they put everything on the rig and then they paint around it, which makes zero sense at all because of cases like this. So I want to point that out. This is something that I'll have to address later, but I wanted to point out this is not an Onnais issue at all. It's a Grand Design issue. Okay, so let's see if we can't get these screws threaded in here. All right, good so far. Now I'm gonna just attach the back of this and then we should pretty much be done. I have to go through programming the remotes for you. I've already done one of them and it was a little bit tricky, so I just wanted to walk through that process too, but we're almost done with the installation here. All right, back inside out of that wind. It's pretty bad out there. So all we have left really is to connect up this ribbon cable and then put those 4 mounting bolts that are gonna hold the 2 halves of this together. And basically that's gonna sandwich those together, and there is some rubber sealing all the way around the outside piece of this lock, which should keep all of the rain and weather out. I don't know, I may go ahead and caulk around that at some point, but we'll just see what that looks like on the outside when I get the whole thing installed. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for the installation piece of this. I would say that the installation is fairly easy. Where it relates to the actual Onnais locking mechanism, there's nothing wrong with the way they've designed that. There are some issues here with Grand Design that I'm having. The problem that I was having earlier with the door sticking a little bit and being hard to shut is a little bit worse now, but you know, that's something that we're gonna have to address down the line. The door does open and shut. We'll have to have Grand Design take a look at that, but I would just say that there was nothing wrong with the design or the construction of the Onnais locking mechanism. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. So that's it for the install, and now we're gonna have to move on to programming the remotes. Now, before we get to programming the key fobs themselves, let's go ahead and program the door lock itself, and we want to just get our own custom code in there. So it comes pre-programmed with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 code. It's just whatever their factory setting is, and we obviously want to change that. Now, on the back of the lock up here, there are 4 buttons. There's a set button, reset button, a light button, and a mute button. And we'll get to all of those buttons here shortly, but the one we're going to use for this process is just going to be the set button. All we're going to do is put the factory code in, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, check mark, right here, this check mark. Then we'll hit the set button on the back, and then we'll take our own custom code, and I'm just gonna use 54321 for now. I'll take the 54321, hit the check button, and then I'll do that again, and then it will program to that code. So let's give this a shot and see what happens. So the first thing we need to do is we just need to lock this so that we can use the code to unlock it. One of the features I really like about this lock set is that it's a 1-button lock. So that means you don't have to put the code in every time you want to lock your RV. All you have to do is just hit the Onnais button on the front and the deadbolt will come out. So let's do that and see what that looks like. So I'm just going to push this button one time and we'll see the deadbolt come out. There we go. So now let's put our own user code in there to make sure we can get that set up right. And I'm just gonna start out with the factory code, and then we're gonna put our own code in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, check. Then I need to hit the set button, and then we're gonna put our own code in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check. We gotta do it twice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check. And it gave us, I think, one short beep and a long beep. So that tells me that this thing's probably programmed correctly, but let's give it a shot. So first, let's get the lock back out. Okay, we can see the deadbolt is out now. So I'm gonna put my own code in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check. And it goes back in. So the programming of this thing is super simple. Just follow the directions provided with your unit and you should be fine. All right, now let's move on to getting the key fobs themselves programmed. This should be fairly simple as well. So the process here is basically, we're gonna put in our password, hit the check mark, then hit the set button 3 times, and then hit any button on these remotes. But the first thing we have to do is we have to make sure that this knob on the outside is set to the unlock position. Now, this has nothing to do with locking or unlocking the lock itself. All this does is, in the unlock position, it means you can flip this handle out. It doesn't actually do anything other than that. It does not lock or unlock your door. And then when I go to the lock position, then I can't pull this handle out. And that's basically so that when you're driving down the road, you can just lock that handle into position. But it's also used as part of the process for programming these key fobs. So let's go ahead and set that to the unlock position, and then we'll go through the process. So I'm just going to enter the code, hit the set button on the back 3 times, and then I'm gonna push either button on the key fob. Now you have to do the key fobs together, but separately. And what I mean by that is, if I do one now, and then I do one later, then the first one that I did will be reset and it will no longer work. And what I mean by doing it together, I mean, we do them at the same time, but we don't want to push the buttons on the key fobs at the same time. The directions say specifically not to do that. So let's give this a shot. So we're gonna enter our code, check, set 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Got a little beep. Now we're gonna hit a button here. We're gonna hit a button here. And then you can't see it, but there's a series of lights that happens here. There's a green light that flashes, and then the keypad flashes for about 30 seconds, and then you can test your remotes to make sure that they work. So right now it's unlocked. I'm gonna hit the lock button on this key fob. All right, then unlock. And then we'll try the other key fob here. Lock. Unlock. So there we go. So that's a pretty simple process. The one thing that I noticed, because I did this earlier already once, is that when you go through the process for these key fobs and you hit that set button on the back 3 times, you can't do it quickly. You have to push the button, wait for the beep, push the button, wait for the beep, push the button, wait for the beep. If you do it too fast, this process doesn't work. But other than that, once I got that figured out, these were super simple to program and set up. And the last thing I wanted to go over here is what's going on with the back side of this lock. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 buttons on here, and there's also a switch. So we talked about 2 of the buttons. Those are used to set up the programming for the lock and the key fobs. The other 2 buttons are the light and the mute buttons, and you can probably kind of guess what those do. Pushing the light button will turn the keypad light on and off, and then the mute button will just mute that beeping noise that it makes when you lock and unlock your door. And then finally we have the lock button up here, and when you have that in the lock position, that just means that your key fobs are not going to work anymore, so you'll either need to have your manual key or you'll have to input your code on the keypad to get your door unlocked. And then finally, there's obviously got to be a way to manually lock this door from the inside. So that knob is right here, and you just simply turn it 90 degrees, and that operates the deadbolt. All right, that's it for the installation. I just kind of want to wrap this video up by just talking about a few features that I find handy, or just a few that I really like about this specific RV lock. So the first one is that it seems to be very well made. It's very heavy duty and it seems to be very secure. And I'll compare it to the lock that came with the rig straight from Grand Design. This one is pretty much all plastic. There's very little metal on here that I can find, and it just doesn't seem nearly as sturdy as this Onnais unit. The Onnais unit seems to be 100% metal construction and very heavy duty. Like I said, this one's plastic pretty much all over, and because of the issue that we have with this door where it's kind of hard to get it to shut all the way and latch, when we pulled on the inside part of this, sometimes it just felt like it was gonna fall apart. This one in here, it's all metal. I have zero doubt that this thing's gonna be here probably for the next 100 years. So the construction of it is probably what I like the most about this unit. The second thing I like is it was pretty easy to set up and install. Barring the issues that I have with the Grand Design unit itself, this thing installed exactly like it was supposed to, everything programmed correctly, so I really appreciate that Onnais got that right as far as their design and their installation instructions. The third thing I really like is the key fobs. Now, people are gonna have differing opinions on this. I like the fact that they are kind of beefy. You know you've got it when it's in your hand, you know you've got it when it's in your pocket. So I just like that it's beefy, and again, it just feels like it's really well made. It doesn't feel like cheap plastic. The second thing I like about the key fobs is the fact that the actual manual key is inside of the fob. And again, a lot of people are probably gonna have differing opinions on that, but the way I see it is if I leave with my fob and I lock this door with my fob and I come home and the battery is dead either in my fob or in the lock itself, then I'm pretty much guaranteed to have the manual key as a backup. So it just makes me feel better knowing that I'll have that manual key with me anytime I need it. And then of course, the last thing I like about this is it just looks nice. It's super sexy up there on the door and it looks like it's really secure. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Onnais is a company that provides firearm safe solutions. So it looks like they've kind of gone with that same theme with this RV door lock. It kind of looks like one of those locks you'd see on a gun safe. And I have no doubts in my mind that this thing is gonna be super secure. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video and for this review. Keep in mind that this RV door lock, I don't think has been on the market for very long, but it seems to be, to me, a pretty good product. And I've been able to work with Onnais and get you all a discount code, and I'll leave that discount code down in the description area for the video. So again, that's gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If so, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and hey, make sure you hit that bell button to ensure that you get an update every time we put out a new video. And until that next video, happy camping and stay safe out there, guys.